Hi, my name is Britt Eisenberg. I'm a Leadership Program Manager for the Gettysburg Foundation, a licensed battlefield guide here at Gettysburg. And today I'm going to share with you the story of Captain William E. Miller of the 3rd Pennsylvania Cavalry. What I think is fascinating about Miller is his backstory, and so many of us connect to these soldiers with their humanness. And Miller has a pretty fascinating story in that he had 9 years of militia experience. He was 25 years old when the American Civil War began, was married and had 2 children. And unfortunately, his wife just died the year before. He lost his daughter, Lizzie, in 1862. But he serves through the first 2 years of the American Civil War, gaining experience as an officer with the 3rd Pennsylvania Cavalry. In the midst of combat out here on East Cavalry Field, in a back and forth seesaw action between Federal troopers under the command of David McMurtry Gregg and also under Confederates of Jeb Stuart, Miller would have an opportunity to make an impact on the fighting that day. It was here, in the vicinity of where the 3rd Pennsylvania Cavalry Monument is located today, that Company H, formerly the Adamantine Guard from Cumberland County, which Miller commanded, was in position early in the morning and then into the afternoon of July 3rd. But Miller is ordered to hold this position at all costs that afternoon. As the battle progresses, Jeb Stuart's troopers are charging across the fields out here to the north from Cress Ridge. Miller sees an opportunity to make a difference, and he has the courage to stand up and make a difference. Because despite his orders, as he says to William Brooke Rawle, if you can back me up in case I am court-martialed, I will order a charge. And so Miller does just that. He orders a charge with his small group of men, probably only about 100 troopers, across these open fields into the left flank of the Confederate attack, completely disorienting the advance that they were in the process of making, likely making them believe that they were going to be cut off. And it causes those Confederate forces to retreat back across the fields towards Cress Ridge. Miller is successful. The Federal troopers out here are successful, and for his actions that day, despite not having orders to do so, Miller is eventually awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor in 1897. He was also wounded out here that day, but he does serve for another year with the Union Army before being discharged in 1864. Miller would make many trips back here to Gettysburg, and on one such occasion in the 1880s, it's brought to his attention that a sword had been found here on East Cavalry Field by the farmer of the Rummel Farm, and on that sword was inscribed his initials. During the combat that day, Miller's saber had been cut in half, and all these years later, nearly 20 years later, Miller was reunited with his sword, which he took home with him to Cumberland County. As I mentioned, he helps to found the Hamilton Library up in Cumberland County, which eventually becomes the Cumberland County Historical Society. He dies in 1919 and was interred in the Gettysburg National Cemetery on Cemetery Hill.